Can get started.
I don't know, I think I'm loud. So hi, most of y'all know me, I'm Shelly. I'm not a nurse, but my job is to help our nurses tell our story. And so you can tell from what we've discussed today, there's a lot of story for us to tell, right? So we need to be able to talk to each other about what's going on in our unit practice councils, what's going on in the various committees, what's going on at different areas. And we all love face-to-face communication here at Harborview, but in a 24-hour institution, it's not realistic that everyone can talk to everybody and find out everything face-to-face. So we have to rely on electronic tools. And our main one is our intranet page. So this is our main intranet page. And if you're looking for information on the unit practice councils, the easiest thing to do is search for it. So if you put UPC in right here and click on the first link, you will get the landing page for our UPCs. So you might want to click on this to add this page to My Links. If you do that, then when you're on the main page of the intranet, you have a link to that. So that's a really convenient way to things that you're going to all the time. You can add links to them there. So that makes it so you don't have to search for them. It's easier. So this is our main UPC site. And as you can see, there's a lot of information on here. So we have it where all of the UPC chairs and chairs-elect have access to this. Everybody can see everything, but only some people can kind of put stuff up there and make changes. So if you want to look at information about a specific UPC, just on the landing page here, we have all their documents, and it's just sorted by when's the next meeting date. So the newest thing is always up first. But if you wanted to look at a specific unit, you just pick it in the drop-down menu. So I'm going to pick on Whitney since she's in here. And if you sort by that unit, you'll get the information about just that unit. So you can look and see what's going on at their next meeting. Pull up. And you can see, oh, hey, here's what's going on with them. And they do kind of an interesting thing. So 24 different councils, people use things differently, make different choices. They have they keep a tally of all of the different votes that they make that they have updated here. So then if they don't have to remember, they don't have to go back to the individual minutes. So that's something special that they do. But you can see the agendas and their minutes there. So this makes it easy for the manager. If you're not able to attend a meeting, you can find out here what went on, or that it makes it easier for you to communicate with the advisor. So the advisor can have a sense of what's going on if they're not attending that particular meeting. They'll see that information here. So how does it get there? Well, if they click on agendas and minutes, they can click on this button, and it'll pull up the default template. So with 24 different UPCs, we can't fill it in with all the information for everybody. So they do have to copy some of it over. But it's all right there for them. It's all as simple as it possibly can be. And it's still 1.0. We haven't updated it to the new version of the practice model yet. And again, here on this page, you have the filter again to see if you're looking at a specific UPC. So another important element is the calendar. If you're wondering when is my UPC meet, if you haven't talked to them, or if you're wanting to talk to a different UPC, like say you found out about a project that was happening in Whitney's UPC and you wanted to know what was going on with it and when are they meeting, you can click on that calendar and find out more about when they're meeting. So they meet in mailing 118 on the third Wednesday of the month at 8. So our expectation is that the UBC chairs are making this information is getting updated, and that's part of what we're discussing in the workshop with the UPC chairs about how to make all that easy. Okay, so the contact list, what you probably will be most interested in here is who's your UPC chair, who's the UPC chair of another UPC, so if they wanted to talk about something with a project, they could email them easily, but also who's your advisor. So who do you need to talk to about that specific UPC? So in these, like they've been saying, we're trying to recruit more. So hopefully we'll get this to the point where it'll be a reasonable number for each of our advisors to be managing in the future. And the reflections, just like Whitney shared, we have a little library of those reflections that people can share there. The resources, so this is where that Practice Council resource guide that's in your packet lives. As well as we'll be putting more materials up there. But a lot of the resources you're going to mostly find on the project curriculum or the project framework that we also refer to it as. So this is the big the big guy that you've seen. And like Matt said, it's still the 1.0 version. But if you click on each phase, like I'm going to click on brainstorm, you can see that there's more information, and everything's broken out by what section of the tool you need to work on. And you can go to, like, if you wanted to watch the video of doing a gap analysis. I'm not going to actually do this because it'll ask for your net ID and everything, but you can take through and literally watch one of those videos just like Rebecca was showing you. It's all that information that's contained there, because it's not like we could easily have one of our educators go and meet with night shift nurses, or we meet regularly with a bunch of different people. This was a way that we chose to make it so that that could be delivered to various different people at different times when they needed it. If they needed that info, they could come and find it. So all of that is there, and that helps us to kind of, as we're working through this, have a shared language, like they were saying, about what these different terms mean and where they are with projects. So you can find more information on any of that stuff here. Like we're going to click on define, we could go to the Clinical Inquiry Councils page, which this will have the contact information for them. So that's one of the councils in our nursing practice organization. Oops, I have to update that link. And we'll be updating this to the nicer version that you guys just got today. But if you click on any of these, that'll take you to the page of that council. Or again, it's also on the left rail of most of the pages. So like the Nursing Practice Council, part of the structure and part of the culture change we're trying to create here is making sure that all of this information is public and shared and easy to find. So if you're interested in what's going on in the NPC, go ahead and read. You can open this, you could save a copy to your desktop, you don't have the access to it to make it so that you will be able to mess anything up. So don't worry about that. But you can look at it. Go ahead, it's fine, it's there. You can look at it. And then we're also, on there we're collecting, so this is a list of information. We're just trying to collect information about when units have huddles and staff meetings, so we have a better sense of when it might be a good time to stop by for that validation tour that we talked about. So we're asking the NPC chairs, and then if you stumble upon this, you can please add the information about when you have your meetings. This is all here on the magnet page, on the NPC page. And so the other councils also have information up there. You can see when they're meeting, more information, look at their agendas, see what's going on with them. So this is basically just our tool to make sure that we're sharing information all in the same way, it's similar formats, and we can get to it all the time. So, questions? Great. Thanks, guys.
Okay. So we gave you a lot of information today, touched on a lot of things around our counselor structure, and we're just going to try to put kind of those real take-home messages at this end so that we leave you with some clear pieces that stand out. And I think one of the most important things here is really understanding our counselor structure and understanding that our unit practice council and the members of those councils have a direct voice up to our nursing executive board. And that's shared with our nursing clinical inquiry council, it's shared with our nursing professional development council, and our magnet steering committee. This morning we had our magnet steering committee meeting, and we had some feedback that there were some nurses who felt like they wanted more involvement, like maybe the magnet steering committee didn't have enough inclusion in it. And we wanted to share with you all today that any of your nurses who would like to be a member of that committee on an ongoing basis, it is just like the rest of our committees, providing that you have it within your scheduling ability to have people come to that. They're very, very welcome to be there and part of that committee.
Can I just, one thing I forgot to mention?
Yeah, Shelley's going to step in and share.
So another thing is that you may have noticed when you're clicking around on the magnet site that when you go to the magnet steering committee that you get this secured access. What? Like, this isn't actually intended to close any of you out. We just don't have a way of securing it so it's just Harborview nurses, and we don't want like UWMC and stuff getting in here. So if you want access to that, if you fill out this request access, it'll email me and I'll add you. It's really not a big deal. I just don't have a way of making it so that everyone can get in there, but there's information more about what goes on in the council and everything there.
That's great to know. I didn't know that either. So there you go. But when we look at this structure, and we really, I think one of the nice things about this reiteration of this structure, because previously you're probably familiar with it, had the nurse executive board on the top, and it was this kind of big circle, and it sort of imposed this power structure, like this was a top-down. And I think we're really moving towards, as an institution, realizing that we all work as a team, no matter where we serve. And of course, the reboot of our professional practice model and what that means and our ability to speak to our practice as nurses at Harborview and how that's different from practice of nurses at other institutions. We also talked about that shared decision making, and really that's what shared governance is. It's that ability for shared decision making. And that means that staff nurses and managers collaborate to achieve our organizational goals. And it also puts staff nurses at the center of our organization. And Nate spoke to this a little bit earlier about servant leaders. And Rebecca talked about how shared governance started in the 1970s. And this whole concept of servant leaders, although it has probably existed throughout time, also really started in the 1970s with Robert Greenleaf's work. And the idea of a servant leader, if you're not familiar with it, is really a leader who is there to empower and care for those that they serve, and really takes away the power from a top-down model and places the power in the hands of everyone. And it really provides leadership that is inclusive. And I think that is the essence of shared governance. And so it's great that all these things were coming out in the 1970s, because a lot of other really awesome things happened in the 1970s, like the birth of Nate and the birth of Sunniva, awesome. And some other awesome people in the room. So the 1970s have a really, 71, 72, a lot of great things came out of the 1970s. But servant leadership, when I look around this room and I look at all the leaders here, all of you, this is what you do naturally. This is who you are as leaders at Harborview. You really are servant leaders. And it allows staff nurses to be in control of their nursing practice. Tim really brought that in the forefront today and really shared about how that's what we want. We want our nurses to be in control of their own practice. We want to have managers and advisors having the opportunity to grow a new set of skills. You're all wonderful leaders, and now this gives us even more opportunity to build some other parts of our skill set, to really relinquish control of decision making and see what that looks like to be a facilitator and not someone who's in control necessarily of every situation. A reminder that built into your budget, 0.1 FTE for the UPC work. In the packet of information that you received today, you will see in there 2 pieces of paper, actually, I think there might be 3, that directly address these budgets, what has been allotted to where. And it will tell you more information that Nate shared more specifically about how to use the clinical education budget with discretion.
Overtime.
Yes, no overtime. But also that those UPCs are already built into your budget to bill that accordingly. And then really, I just want to thank all of you for being here today. I think Harborview, in my opinion, is really the only place that I want to work in Washington State, probably the entire of the Northwest. I feel like we have so much opportunity here that is not available elsewhere. It's not available at our sister institutions, and it's not available in the broader community. We get to work with such incredible humans, and we get to care for such incredible humans. And now that we are just building more and more infrastructure around empowerment for nurses, it's just more of an exciting time to be a part of this incredible institution. So I'm grateful for all of you being here today. I want to open this up to any questions you might have for me or anyone else who was speaking today. Anything about our counselor structure, about our professional practice model, about kind of moving forward, what does this look like for us? Or if you're still sitting there and you're like, why? What does this even mean to me as an advisor or a manager? any questions you might have for any of us, feel free to go ahead and ask them now. Anything. It just means we did a great job of covering everything, right? So in your packets that you got, you have a lot of reference material. That reference material is going to help you when questions come up around your UPCs or NPCs or other counselor work. So keep a hold of that. Also, those articles that were sent as pre-reading are really helpful in understanding shared governance. And I'm going to try to get the articles that Nate was referring to earlier and send it out to the group as well. So you're out of here a little early. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you so much for coming.